Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, and I would like to welcome you to today's episode of the World of Gaming. Yes, today we have no guest. It's been a while, Dutch, since it's been just the two of us. Yeah, so I thought, since we have a couple of shows coming up, special episodes of the World of Gaming, and I'll get to that in a second, I thought, let's just have the chill conversation in between the two of us. We haven't done that in a while. But before we do that, Dutch, we need to welcome the amazing community. Welcome everybody who is already tuning in here live, but of course also big welcome to everyone who listens after the fact. Because I think today we might have a few more listeners than usual that watch this after it's gone live, and that's because it's Thanksgiving in the US. So I want to wish everyone who's celebrating Thanksgiving a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys spent some great time with your family, with your loved ones. But I also want to say a big happy Thanksgiving to everyone who is here with us live today. Guys, I know people always say what they are grateful during Thanksgiving. I think that's what they do in the US, right?
Yeah.
And I want to shout out this community because I'm really grateful to be a small part of this community, the gaming community we have the honor to be a part of. Is just so amazing, Dutch, and I'm truly humbled and grateful that we get to be a part of this and that you guys listen to us each and every week. It's just amazing.
Yeah, most definitely. Shout out to all that support us, past, present, future. Of course, without all of yourselves, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing or enjoying what we're doing. So, shout out to everybody that supports us on a weekly basis. Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Let me shout out Dave Ramos, who sends in already the first super chat of the day. Thank you so much for the support, man. $5 comes in and he says, from us, World of Gaming fans in the States, to you, Box and Dutch, and all those listening from wherever home may be, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you, brother. Happy Thanksgiving to your family and, of course, to the entire community. Yeah, man. Awesome date for a podcast. I can't wait to talk with you about all the awesome topics because, Dutch, let me tell you, we have some things that a lot of the bigger podcasts missed this week. We got some real insight in a massive new for Xbox first-party game coming from Zenimax Online, and no one talked about it. No one. I don't know why. Hellblade 2 reached a significant milestone, and no one talked about it. Dutch, we're gonna rectify that, and we talk about a lot more to come. So, but first, we need to do some housekeeping. We need to announce a couple of things, because, guys, get your calendars out and book a couple of special shows in your calendars. The World of Gaming is gonna go awesome in December, even more awesome than we try to go usually. I'm kidding. Listen, we've a couple of months ago, we had the community special where we invited people from the community on the podcast, people that usually don't do podcasts. And we had such a blast. So we're going to do that again next week. The band is going to return. We're going to do another community special. And it's gonna be awesome. I truly can't wait to have the community special again next week. That's December 1st. We will have Dave Ramos on. We will have Redry on, Estrace Gaming, and Peter, all as a guest here for the community special. So that's gonna be really cool. I can't wait for that. But we also have another show coming up next week, and that's next week, Saturday. Guys, circle that also in your calendar. Saturday, same time as right now, so 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Here in Europe, 7 p.m. in the UK time zone, and 2 p.m. Eastern. Saturday, December 3rd, we will have our annual highlight show of 2022. We do that each and every year. Even before the world of gaming existed, we have done this once a year. We invite big creators from the community to review the year in gaming. And we do that this year again. We do it a little earlier than usual. Usually we do that more after the Game Awards and after everything came out. But due to some scheduling issues, we had to do it a little early on December 3rd. So this year we're going to have ACG, aka Karak, here as a guest. We will have Lord Cognito as a guest from the Iron Lords, and we will have Ainsley from Season Gaming to discuss with the two of us, of course, the entire year. We will go through the biggest news of the year. We will talk about the best games that came out. You guys know the drill. We've done this before. We've done this in 2021. We've done this in 2020. So, yeah, cannot wait. So mark those two things, and the other awesome special shows for the year we will announce a little later. But there's more special shows to come. And that's now I'm already talking for like forever, but I need to briefly shout out Draw TJ with super generous super chat of $55. Thank you, man. And he says, "Morning, Boxenberger. I just woke up. Lol, it's 11. Keep up the amazing content. Man, awesome that you made it. And good evening from Germany. It's 8 p.m. here for me. So shout out to you, brother. Glad you can join us. And I hope you have an awesome day. So, all right. With that, Dutch, I think it's time to move to the games of the week. Soon, very soon, we will have even more awesome jingles because I bought in the Black Friday sale a Stream Deck. So I will have like a panel in front of me for those who don't know what it is. Yeah. I will have a panel in front of me and I can push buttons to play these jingles. I don't have to go through the software, and that means even more good stuff is coming. And by the way, that's just possible because of the amazing support that the community has shown us. So we always try to improve the quality here of the show. We also will try to move over the Christmas break to a 2K stream, so even better quality than right now. So yeah, we always try to improve the show. So yeah, let's talk about the games of the week, guys. I also want to know from you in the chat, what are you playing at the moment? What has kept you busy over the last week? Dutch, what did you play?
Yeah, my name's Dutch, and I have a Pokemon addiction.
Sometimes I really truly have to ask myself why I host with you.
It's every now and again. I don't get all of them. You see, there's a lot of Pokemon fans that literally buy every Pokemon under the sun. I got Arceus because it was the first kind of evolved version of what Pokemon was going to be, and I knew this one was the kind of modern day actual Pokemon. So the last one didn't have the same battle system. It was a bit different. It was set way in the past. So it was kind of Pokemon, but not really. It was a bit of a vision of what they're planning to do with the franchise. Now, this is the first version of the future of Pokemon. So it was one that I was going to get. But yeah, I've completely finished that game now. I'm in Endgame. Endgame opens up a whole new load of stuff to do now as well. A lot of stuff. So it is great, to be fair, and obviously shout out to the developers, because it is the fastest and largest opening 3 days of any game ever. 10 million sales for Pokemon in the first 3 days. It is just bonkers. It's absolutely insane. This is going to be if this doesn't do like 20 million by Christmas, I'd be unbelievably surprised. Massive smash hit. Aside from that, though, I have been playing a little bit of Call of Duty Warzone 2, just a little bit, not too much. I had about 3 or 4 rounds with General C the other evening, which was fun. And also God of War and Evil West. obviously love. To be honest, I really enjoyed Evil West. Really fun game. Really cool combat. Had us smiling quite a bit all the way throughout.
Yeah.
To me, it was.
You
It felt
finished?
like
Did I answer you? You finished
no,
it
not
already?
finished it yet.
Not finished
No,
yet. Okay.
no. I'm only about 2 hours into it or something.
2
So I've got
hours
quite a
in.
while.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
going to finish it after God of War. That's
Mm.
but definitely because it's. I was enjoying it. It gives me the feeling both the combinations of combat and movement are a combination of Gears of War and God of War.
Yeah.
That's how
I agree.
that game makes me feel, and it's cool. It's a really easy story to get a hold of. It's not overly complex.
No.
So it's good fun. It's good fun. I'm looking forward to that. But of course, God of War has been capturing our attentions massively. I really can't wait to get into that.
You know what?
More.
Let's watch some Evil West gameplay.
Let's
Yeah,
do that.
sure.
Oh, a nice
God of War. I agree.
Yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing some more of this.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's and obviously, last but not least, God of War Ragnarok, of course, playing through that on stream. So obviously, I'm not playing it as much as I want to. I've already devoted my time to putting it on stream, so I'll do that until I finish it. I'm not going to do. I did change up a little bit how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do 100% on stream. I'm going to do the story on stream, mop up the side quests myself in my own time, so I can enjoy that a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And then when I come to the final boss or the final hour of mopping it up, then I'll stream the kind of 100% completion section. But yeah, so I'm basically going to do about 30 odd hours of the game on stream. The other 15, 20 hours worth of side content I'll do off stream, and then mop it up afterwards. But I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely going to be my game of the year. So, yeah. What about yourself?
Sweet.
What
about myself? Well, I've also played, of course, a lot of Evil West. I actually was playing that also last week, but I couldn't talk about it because I got a review code up front. Was lucky enough. So I put out my review on Monday, and I said exactly the same thing like you said in the review. It reminds me of mixture in between God of War and Gears of War. Of course, they are not the same games. Yeah, obviously, look at what you see on screen. Yeah. They are different, but like you said, the shooting reminds a little bit of Gears of War, and of course, like the way how you continue in the linear sections, and even the smaller things like opening a chest reminds you completely of God of War. So you will probably see why in a few seconds here. By the way, no worries. You won't get any story things spoiled here. I always try to choose my footage very carefully so that no one will see here any major story spoilers. You will just see some of the fun gameplay, and that's what this game is really all about. It is just pure fun to play that game. The combat feels amazing, and throughout the entire game, you just learn new weapons, abilities, and stuff. And the game kind of forces you to use them because you cannot like manually reload your weapons, for instance. So if you only want to play with your rifle, you're getting screwed because you can't manually reload that weapon. So you have to switch in between melee combat, in between long range combat, in between your revolver and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I had a blast.
I think even if you wanted to play just with the rifle, I don't think you could anyway because there's that many enemies attacking at any one point.
Yeah, exactly.
In certain sections, it's like overwhelming, so you have to mix it up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, so I had a blast. I gave the game a 9. And I was kind of surprised seeing some of the reviews out there. I mean, I could see why people would probably give it an 8. I can see that. I mean, the story isn't really deep, and some of the lines are cheesy, but come on. You're playing a cowboy hunting vampires, werewolves, and other monsters. What do you expect? Do you really expect like super deep storytelling? That's not what this game is about. This game is about fun gameplay, and I had a blast playing it, so I stand by that. And my review. So yeah, and I've been playing obviously that. we're gonna watch I've got like a good hour or a little more of gameplay here to show, spoiler-free gameplay at least. So we're gonna see why this game is just really fun to play. Yeah. What else have I been playing? God of War also. I finished Evil West last weekend, so after that I went back to God of War, and I'm having a blast. I think I'm at least halfway through the game, maybe 2/3. I don't know. Hard to tell.
I'll have to ask you off stream where you're up to.
Yeah. We have to talk about that offline. No, I actually thought about showing here some God of War footage as well, but it's literally impossible to record more than, let's say, 5 minutes without spoiling story elements.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided not to show God of War, not because it's not worth looking at, but because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But I'm having a blast with God of War. Like you said, definitely up there for Game of the Year contender. Amazing game. And of course, my all-time favorite, H4. Still playing that. I lost a couple of matches in a row. Like, I had no idea I was getting destroyed in the gold tier 3 rank that I play in. Like, I have no idea why. Suddenly I was losing match after match after match. So I dropped down to gold tier 2.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like I'm back in the potato league, but no, gold tier 2 is actually quite good already. Gold tier 2 is those are players. They know what they do. They really know what they do, and I think this happens every season. Like in season 1, it happened. It happened in season 2. Now it's happening in season 3. People learn to really use the little tweaks they make in each season to their advantage. For instance, in season 3, they gave like the upgrades to your economy a real buff. So they are cheaper now. So you have you can do them earlier, and people have to. So it's more rewarding to focus on a good economy early in the game, like it was in season 2, and people use that as their to their advantage, and they learn now after a couple of weeks how to do that properly, and that's when you can suddenly tell, oh, the community became better, and you have to adjust your playstyle and your strategies, and if you play the same strategies like you played in season 2, you're gonna get destroyed in season 3. You really have to adapt, and that's what is so addicting about this game. It's, guys, I can't emphasize enough. I'm super excited for it to come to console, so everyone can enjoy it here, and we can have even more awesome Age of Empires 4 discussions on this show. But man, with that, I think we kind of have to move on to the news, because it's not an Age of Empires 4 show. Although
what have the community been playing though, Boxy? What have the
Oh,
community
right. Oh, thank you. Let's catch up with the community. Thank you for the reminder, man. So let's see. We have Trash. He plays Sparks of Hope and Death's Door. Oh, Death's Door is really good. Fantastic choice.
Actually, the other day, I saw my brother online. He's not often online on the Xbox because he's very much a hands-on labor kind of crafty guy. But yeah, and I seen him playing Death's Door, and I thought, oh, that's a tough one for a non-gamer to be playing.
It is.
I was like, how are you enjoying it? He was like, it's kicking my butts. We're not very good at it. I was like, yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, it's really not.
House, he said so. Yeah, good game.
It is a fantastic game, but like you said, I don't think it's the game for the casuals. So
I was quite surprised.
Yeah, indeed. Ballantone is playing also Age of Empires 4. Brother, hit me up. We need to play together. And Vampire Survivors and Pokemon. So yeah, man, you have lots of addictive games here. Also, Ballantone with Persona Royale and Summerville. Sith Lord is playing Vampire Survivors. I have yet to play it.
You'll get addicted. It's the most simple game ever. Like all you need is a left thumbstick. You don't need to do anything else. Just left thumbstick. But it is so addictive because it's just about upgrading and getting more kills and upgrading and lasting longer and lasting longer and lasting longer and trying to beat your high score. It's just old-fashioned fun, put it that way.
I know that I would enjoy it. I know 100%, but I have so many games I need to finish right now, so I'm not touching that. I want to finish God of War, and I want to finish Gotham Knights. I put that on hold when God of War came out, but then I had to put God of War on hold because Evil West, with the review code, and it's like, so I'm not playing Vampire Survivors just yet. I have Pentiment waiting. I need to try that. So there's just so much to play, man. Jesse W is playing Gungrave Gore. Man, how are you liking it? That I watched ACG's review and he said it's the worst game he has played in years. So,
and that wasn't just ACG; that was like across the board. So I hope some people are finding enjoyment in it.
Me too.
But yeah, it certainly didn't do well critically.
Yeah, indeed. So Scott X2, he says, first of all, Gold's 2 slander. Yeah, man, Gold 2 slander. I've been for months in Gold 2, so I'm proud that I'm in Gold 3 now. So let me have that. But he's also playing Vampire Survivors, Persona 5, Pentiment, and Halo. Yeah, man. The community, as always, on fire with their taste in gaming. So good stuff here, good stuff, dude. But now let's talk about the news of the week. All right. I just see in the chat that I missed Paul's mention that he's currently playing God of War 2018 and then Miles Morales on PC. Nice. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, can't wait for the Stream Deck, man. When I can only have to push a button here, like to play those jingles. We will have
so much easier.
It makes life so much easier. And then we have the highlight show of 2022 coming next week, and the community special next week. And I will have a Stream Deck. You're getting slammed with jingles. But man, we have so much to talk about. We will talk, of course, about the latest talk of the CMA, FTC, and the Activision Blizzard acquisition. We will talk about some real cool stuff coming off of Hellblade 2. We will also talk a little bit about the commercial success of God of War Ragnarok. We have some Splinter Cell news. The Witcher 3 next gen patch is awesome. We will need to talk about that. But first, man, I've said this in the beginning of the show. People missed this. A lot of people missed this news item this week. And I thought, like, what is going on? Why is no one talking about this? So we need to make it the first topic of today's show. And that is news on the new game of Zenimax Online. Zenimax Online, now Bethesda, an Xbox studio, since the acquisition of Bethesda. They belong now to Xbox. They are very well known for Elder Scrolls Online, but they are also working on another game. And this week we learned that this game has already been in development for 4.5 years. They came out and talked about it. And they are working on this game now with a team of 200 developers. It's quite a team, man. So it's not a super small passion project or something like that. So the creative director Ben Jones from Zenimax Online shines some additional light on this upcoming project. He said that on the Product Builder podcast, he said that he has been working on this game for 4.5 years, but when he joined the team, there was already some high-level lore and story over a few beats were there before that. So the work has even started before that, before those 4.5 years. And then he said, we are creating a new IP. So a lot of that started with a background for a world, a vision for a high-level world that we were going to create and to agree a story that we wanted to tell. They have changed the main story arc over the last 4 years about 10 times. But now they have it down, and they cannot wait to share more on this project. So 200 developers at Zenimax Online working on that game. Man, what do you expect? What could it be?
I mean, if has anybody, have you played Elder Scrolls Online by Zenimax Online?
Yes, I played that game when it came out on consoles for a while. Actually, I think this was the last bigger MMO that I actually played. Like, not just gave it a shot for a couple of hours, but actually like invested time into it. But then I kind of dropped out of the MMO genre because I became a father and I had less time to game, and those games are just massive time sinks. That's why I actually stopped playing it. But yeah, I had a blast with it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have invested many hours into it. So, how about you?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I had Elder Scrolls Online. I didn't play as much as most people. Again, it's mainly because it's just a huge time sink, as all MMOs are. You really like MMOs, or specifically really like to play in a universe that's ever expanding, which is what MMOs do. So the likes of Final Fantasy Online, the likes of Elder Scrolls Online, World of Warcraft, etc. These worlds that are just ever expanding. You've got daily tasks to do. You've got new places to go to every day, new things to do every day, raids to do, massive parties to raid with. The main thing stopping me from playing MMOs like that is having people to play it with. I think if I had a daily kind of group of friends that was playing Elder Scrolls Online, there's more chance I'd play something like that. But that said, the only one thing I hope this new venture from, because I will be checking it out regardless, because it might be something I want to invest time into. But I don't know until I can see what it is.
And we actually don't know if it's actually just gonna be like an MMO, or if it is just an online game, like an games as a service title. I don't know. We don't know.
It's but yeah, it's the one thing I do hope is that it has a better start to life than Elder Scrolls Online, because the SO when that launched was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was
pretty bad. It needed a lot of work before that thing was playable, and obviously now, thankfully, it is huge. Not only is it playable, but it's had countless expansions that are really good. So I don't know what to expect. Obviously, it's thankfully not based in Elder Scrolls or the Fallout universe. It is a new IP, so it's a new universe. I have seen some artwork for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just the concept art. I've seen concept art for it.
Okay.
Yeah. Seen some concept art for it, and to be fair, the studio behind the concept art, or at least the guys behind the concept art, have got some really cool ideas for that universe.
So what is the setting? What is the setting like?
It's still high fantasy.
It's also high fantasy. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I had a theory I wanted to propose here, but if you say that
concept, it's just concept. So these concept designs, etc., might have little to no bearing on it, but these are the people that are working on the game. So the concept art for it was very much high fantasy, very colorful worlds.
Was it really concept art for the game? Because sometimes I've seen that with other games happening. Sometimes, like, concept artists put out concept art that they created publicly, but they have literally nothing to do with the game that they are working on, because they cannot show those concepts for obvious reasons. but they obviously want to make a name for themselves, so they put out other concept arts. So was it that, or was it actually confirmed that those concept arts are from the game?
No, it was from the game.
Okay.
I'll send you a little. There's one. There's literally one here, but there is one screenshot here. You'll see what I mean by high fantasy. Here we go.
You can also share it and just put it on screen, man.
I can certainly try that. 2 seconds.
No problem, no problem. Because like I was all day thinking about this, and what could it be? What could it be? I would have proposed it. How awesome would it be with the Star Wars license now being available? If Microsoft just made like a Mandalorian online game with Zenimax, you could really use that universe for extended for an extended online game. So add to stream right here. There we go. That's the concept art that she was talking about, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So, looks definitely high fantasy, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And
awesome.
it is meant to be an MMORPG, so it's we shall see how big that goes, whether or not it's the same scale as a World of Warcraft or as an Elder Scrolls Online, or whether or not they might shrink the MMO down a little bit, but it's MMORPG again. But Zenimax Online really were founded as an MMO studio within Bethesda, so it depends how big it is. Yeah, you never know.
Sweet. Yeah. No, I mean, I was truly surprised by the size of the team. Like 200 people, that's not nothing. So this is an ambitious project, obviously. They and I could see like Microsoft now giving them a little bit more time, a little bit more funding, that they actually really try to bring out a massive MMO online RPG, like something. I mean, Elder Scrolls Online, it doesn't look bad, but it looks dated. Yeah. And something fresh looking, and an MMO is something Microsoft doesn't have right now in their roster. So yeah, man. Good stuff. Let me briefly shout out Jonas the Dad. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and thank you so much for the super chat. He says, love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving from Oregon, USA. Man, happy Thanksgiving to you as well, to your family. I hope you have an awesome day. Enjoy the holiday. And thank you so much for being here. Dutch. Zenimax Online. 4.5 years is also quite a while. When do you think we will see the game?
Yeah, it is. It's very much quite a while. The thing about MMOs though is that even though it's quite a while, I think it's not much time. Usual regular AAA games of substantially smaller size, and when I'm talking smaller size, I mean the size of the world, the amount of missions and quests and characters and design choices and weapons and armor and beasts and all that stuff that needs to go into an MMORPG is wrapped up like tenfold compared to what you'd get in a single player kind of game. And when you're talking about a AAA MMO, it's such a grandiose kind of project. I would expect this to be at least another 3 years until this comes out.
This long?
Ooh. Yeah.
That's quite a while. That's quite a while.
The reason I say that is, if you have a look at kind of just based on how long Starfield, a single player RPG, is creating from Bethesda Game Studios, which is of epic scale. If you have a look at how long they're giving between Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 and the time frame that they're saying.
Dude, Elder Scrolls 6 is not coming out this gen.
No.
It'll be a launch title for the next gen or in launch window.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you have a look at just the timescales that they take, and to me, that doesn't bother me at all, because at the end of the day, take as much time as you need. If the studio can financially take as much time as it requires, that is the best thing possible. The reason sometimes you find a lot of studios end up having to rush is because they are literally on a budget, and
Yeah.
there is a limit to how much kind of funding they can have before they have to just get that game out and making money. Thankfully, the likes of Bethesda, etc., don't really have that problem now because they have the backing of a very large organization behind them. So financially, they don't have to concern themselves with that anymore. Microsoft wants to give these studios the time and the funding and the tools in order to create the game that they want to create. So to me, I'm not bothered if this game takes a little bit while longer. I mean, it's not like we're short of games anytime soon. Specifically MMOs. I mean, the amount of content, even for Elder Scrolls Online, that's still getting new content. That's still being worked on.
Through that, yeah.
Yeah. You're getting Starfield next year, which is absolutely humongous, and that's going to take a lot of time out of people. So, for me, I see this being possibly 26, 27 when it releases. But it's going to be big. It's going to be a far cry in quality compared to what we had for Zenimax Online. And of course, that game, at least Elder Scrolls Online, originally wasn't developed in-house. It was developed by a third party, and Zenimax Online then took over the kind of IP following that. But the third party, I think, still work in conjunction with them anyway. If not, did they not acquire them actually? Was it not that way around? I can't remember. Zenimax. Yeah, I think so. I think they got acquired by Bethesda, kind of when they were creating the IP, weren't they? Or at least creating the MMO.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that was their first learning curve, was creating this huge IP, well, this huge MMO based on a massive IP. Having to create Elder Scrolls Online was a big ask. A lot of teething issues at the beginning, but I think what it has allowed them to do is learn a lot over the course of the lifespan of Elder Scrolls Online, to know what to do and what not to do, how to get things working, how to fix things, how to like quest lines and things like that. So I think this learning curve throughout the lifespan of Elder Scrolls Online is only going to make this new MMORPG even more enticing going forwards, and it's exciting to see what they come up with. Certainly, if it's specifically a brand new one that they won't be tied to using Elder Scrolls lore or using Fallout lore or anything like that. So let's see what where their imagination can take them and what worlds they can create where they're not kind of restricted to
the Elder Scrolls lore. Yeah. You know what made me excited about this, hearing this, that they really focus on story, like putting 10 times over the main story arc.
I think
actually,
you know why that is as well, Boxy. It's specifically because if you have a look at the way that Final Fantasy 14 has done it, the Final Fantasy community themselves, the Final Fantasy 14 story, even as an MMO, stacks up above and beyond a lot of the actual mainline Final Fantasy games. And I think seeing the success of what Final Fantasy's been able to do with that franchise and MMO has led them to say, you know what it is, MMOs don't have to just be this like grind fest every day. You can actually have this nice, like this good story that goes along with it whilst doing your quests.
Absolutely. And that is something where I could see myself getting back into it if I don't have to log on just to grind out the daily quests, the weekly quests, the monthly quests, and so on. But to, just go on, enjoy a story, enjoy a couple of quests with my friends in my own pacing. Let's see. Let's see what it will be. High fantasy setting, you can never go wrong with that. Focus on story, big team, enough time. I don't know.
Imagine if they created an MMO Witcher.
They actually will. They will. CD Projekt Red announced that. That's a little earlier this year.
Goodbye, life.
Yeah, goodbye, life. Indeed. Goodbye, life. Indeed. Let me briefly switch the gameplay footage, another part of the game, Evil West. And let me shout out two amazing supporters of the channel. Pyro Mad became a YouTube channel member. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for the support. This will now grant you access to custom badges and emojis and early access to all my videos, except the reviews. I can't legally, I cannot grant you early access to those, but to all the others. And shout out to Smitty Smith, who has been a channel member for 17 months now, which is amazing. And he says, salute to the panel and chat and game on. Absolutely. Salute to you, brother. Happy Thanksgiving. And yeah, thanks for being here. And of course, thank you so much for the support. Super appreciate that. Yeah, by the way, Dutch, we're gonna we will give a little back. We will have, of course, during all the special shows, during the community special next week, and of course during the 2022 highlight show on Saturday next week, on December 3rd, we will do giveaways to the community, give a little back for as a thank you for the support that we have received here throughout the entire year. The community is just awesome. So let's move on to another topic. You want to get? I know you're getting a little tired of the entire Activision Blizzard discussion, so you want to get it out of the way.
Let's do it. Let's go for it.
Let's go. Let's go for it. All right, what happened this week? I mean, we barely get a week past, but without some news. So, a couple of things actually happened. With the CMA in the UK, and of course the FTC in the US, and Microsoft has also done something. So let's start with the CMA. The CMA published the full concern of Sony about the ABK deal, the entire document, and as well Microsoft's response. So this has of course been again a topic to discuss here, because we all knew that Sony, obviously didn't want the deal to go through. But there are some statements I want to read from the excerpt. And then I want to propose the question here to you, Dutch, and of course to the chat. Why is Sony complaining about Microsoft potentially doing the same business practices that they have done for years? So the CMA has obviously concerns, and they said the following: Microsoft would control irreplaceable content that drives user engagement. They do as well. They have that as well. They have They have the control over content that drives user engagement. They do a lot of their IPs and the second-party IPs that they locked down. They also said in the midterm, a significant number of PlayStation users would likely switch to Xbox and/or Game Pass. How about giving your customers a little value? Maybe day one releases. They might not switch if that's the case. I don't know. Faced with weaker competition, Microsoft would be able to increase console and game prices for Xbox users, including those that had switched from PlayStation, increase the price of Game Pass, and reduce innovation and quality. Now, this one stuck with me because help me out here. Who raised game prices? Who raised console prices?
Yeah. I think they're specifically talking about US customers there, or they have to be, surely. Because the only area that didn't get a console increase is the US.
But they talked to the CMA, which is the UK.
Oh, yeah. Well, so, then in that case, then they're talking out of their rear ends.
I don't know. So increased the price of Game Pass. I don't know. If I look at my PS Plus base subscription, I don't pay the same like I did last year. I don't know who raised here the price, and they might reduce innovation and quality. Now, listen, I think the PS5 is a great console. Don't get me wrong, but the innovation the gen came from Microsoft with things like FPS boost, or let's say the backwards compatibility overall, the entire ecosystem approach with xCloud, with all these things that they have done to the entire ecosystem. I don't know if I would say Microsoft is not driving the innovations. So yeah. Another statement here, this would effectively prevent Sony Interactive Entertainment from competing for the business of a large portion of console gamers, reducing its incentives to invest. Those were just some of the excerpts that Sony proposed. And like we already said, yeah, I don't know about you, but who does these business practices for years that they are trying to criticize now?
Yep. It's exactly what Sony have been doing, and I don't know why they're mentioning it, because it's as if they think that the CMA won't actually look into it, because they don't just, when they're looking at the competition, they're looking at the complaints, they look into the claims and the validity. Then they also look at the history of the competitor that's putting those complaints in to see what trends they've been doing. Like, they don't just look at the person that's purchasing the thing; they look at everything that goes along with it. So it's as if they arrogantly think that the CMA aren't going to check facts.
No.
I don't understand it. I don't understand Sony's position on that one. It seems a bit hypocritical to be saying stuff like that.
I feel what surprises me the most. I mean, I think we all agree here, and we don't have to drag this out. We all agree it's ridiculous because Sony has been doing all these things for years, locking behind content, increase prices, increase console prices, stuff like that, lack of innovation, and so on. They've done all that. What surprises me is they need to know that this will hurt like their public reputation permanently. Yep. This will hurt like their relationship with Microsoft. You remember a couple of years before good old Jimbo was CEO, when we still had Sean Layton, and we had those moments when they came out together with Reggie Fils-Aimé at the Game Awards on stage, stuff like that. You really think this is gonna happen after you go out like this in public, like even with other bigger publishers?
Yeah, it's a bit nuts.
You know, if you go into the room of EA or Warner Brothers or Ubisoft, I don't know, and you want to negotiate stuff, people will know that. They will remember that. Is this really worth it? Risking, like, yeah, you know, your reputation in the grander gaming community. Yeah, that's what surprised me so much.
Yeah, it's that's the thing. I don't think Sony are really looking at is how it affects their reputation by what they're saying and what they're doing. It's baffling to me, to be honest. I don't understand the position on it anymore, and it seems like it's come to a point where they're just like, oh well, we've gone this far, so we may as well go all the way.
Yeah,
it's kind of how it feels right now. It's like, oh well, we've already started it, so we need to finish it.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of feels like that. So yeah. Let me tell you something else that happened in the ABK world. The FTC in the US is apparently looking into actually filing an antitrust lawsuit to block the Microsoft takeover. The way how I understood it is in the US, they formally cannot, like block it or approve the deal. They just stay quiet. And if you actually want to stop the merger, you kind of have to sue them. And so apparently they are looking into that. This is according to 3 sources cited by Politico. The FTC chair, Lina Khan, is looking to, and I'll quote, rein in the power of the world's largest technology companies. And I was a little bit surprised about hearing that from the FTC. I would have thought the EU or the CMA, so UK and Europe, make those statements, because I know that in Europe, the European Commission is scared of like these giant American tech companies. I've always said, like, I don't think that the CMA is looking into this deal because they are scared of like a shift in the gaming industry per se. This is not about gaming. This is about one of those giant tech companies like a Microsoft, like Apple, like Google, like Amazon, that those gain even more power in new industries that they are not have that where they don't have their foothold in right now. I think that's what the EU and the CMA is scared of. Now it sounds to me like, if this is true, take it with a grain of salt, of course, but if this is true, the FTC is also scared of Microsoft becoming too big. So what do you make of this?
Yeah, I don't think, to be honest, the article by Politico had no founding. It was just a hearsay article. It did also say that they hadn't begun the route of putting in a formal complaint, should we say. They hadn't even voted on it, and nor had they met with any of the companies. So it's a pure speculation article, and to be honest, specifically where the FTC is concerned, in that jurisdiction, Microsoft, if they choose to sue, Microsoft will absolutely take them to court. The FTC
Let me read the quote. Let me read the quote. Lulu Cheng Meservey, apologies if I butchered her name. She is the EVP Corporate Affairs and CCO at Activision Blizzard at the moment. Yeah. And she said the following today on Twitter: seeing a lot of speculation about Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Any suggestions that the transaction could have anti-competitive effects is absurd. This merger will benefit gamers and the US gaming industry, especially as we face stiffer competition from abroad. We are committed to continue to work cooperatively with regulators around the globe to allow the transaction to proceed, but we won't hesitate to fight to defend the transaction if that's needed. There you go.
Yep. It's groundless, but it's great. And then she's I think if you have a look at her title on Twitter, and it isn't someone from Twitter Blue, so we know it's an actual authorized person.
Yeah, exactly.
Thankfully, you can check that, so you can see the validity of it, not just a random person with a tick.
So she's the legal head of Activision Blizzard, basically.
Head of communications, yeah.
No, not of communications. Actually, the legal department.
Oh, well, that's even better then.
Yeah.
We are absolutely willing to go to town on this one. So, as I've said from the start, to be honest, I have no concerns over its validity, should we say. So, it'll go through. I don't think there's going to be any concessions. And I think both Microsoft and ActiBliz are also thinking that as well. I don't think they're expecting any concessions at all.
Yeah, I agree. So let me briefly shout out Dave Ramos for another generous $5 super chat. He says, Sony are against it because the technicality that Sony doesn't secure exclusives by purchasing devs and publishers so bad Xbox isn't doing it right. Yeah, man. The weird thing is, I'm not sure if Sony, what would happen outside? Let me put it this way. Let me come in from this angle, Dave. What would happen if Microsoft acquires Activision Blizzard in the console space? You would get a little shift with Call of Duty, nothing more, because on console this deal is Call of Duty. Like we get every decade or so we get a Diablo game. I know, but that's what console gamers get.
Yeah.
It's not even big for like PC. Yeah, you get World of Warcraft. Okay, but does that really affect the? Does this really affect the? The market on PC? Like, will suddenly the Windows Store become the thing on PC? And not gonna happen. So, what is Sony really scared of? They are really scared of like Microsoft actually making more money in the gaming division, thanks to mobile. And once they do that, they can expand on all four fronts because then they have the full backing of the mother company. Like if this deal is a financial success for Microsoft won't hesitate to buy for 20 billion a Ubisoft or for 30 billion an EA or Warner Brothers. They won't even hesitate, and that's what they are scared of. So, yeah. Good shout, Dave. Good shout. Dutch, I see you dropped something in our private chat room here for the community. I love it. I love it, man. Dutch is giving away a 3-month Xbox Game Pass Ultimate code.
It is a worldwide code as well, so there is no geo restrictions on it.
Ooh, a worldwide code, guys. A worldwide code. So, you guys know how we do giveaways here. Dutch, you want to do it now? Should we do it a little later? Since you're the sponsor,
later on. We'll keep the community on their toes.
3 months of Game Pass Ultimate, and I understand that's not a code that only works for new subscribers. It works for everybody.
Everybody and anybody can use it.
There you go, guys. We will have this generous giveaway from Dutch here a little later in the show. Yeah, man. This deal. It has been a conversation point. But you know what else happened this week? And I want to move on from Activision Blizzard because we will talk about this next week again. I don't know what will be the topic next week, but you know that something will happen. And I actually still enjoy this because it kind of gives you a peek behind the curtain, you know, how these deals come to fruition. And we usually don't get that. So that's why I'm still enjoying it, talking about this.
I was going to say at first it was quite cool, but I think it's just the fact that it's just and it doesn't seem like much is happening. It's more just like minor updates every time. And then obviously the amount of discussions that come off the back of it. I'm just super excited for a change for the Game Awards so that we have lots of new things to talk about. New games, new announcements and things like that. And I'm super hyped for new announcements again.
Me too. Like I wanted actually to talk about this a little later. We could also talk about this now. Jedi Survivor, man. We got the news this week. Yeah. Jedi Survivor is now I want to get the quote properly. I have this little down in the list for later. Where is it? So Jedi Fallen Order is getting apparently the release date and the trailer, and with that, of course, a new trailer at the Game Awards. This is coming from Tom Henderson. He says, guys, we can expect a new trailer, a release date, and possibly even the opening of the pre-orders. So, man.
Just another one to add to my pre-order list for 2023.
100%. Man, Jedi Fallen Order was so good. So I cannot wait for Survivor.
That's essentially the Star Wars game I was waiting for.
Yeah.
something with an awesome story, really well done, fun combat, made you feel like a badass Jedi. I can't wait. And if anybody has played all the way through, you know the ending is awesome as well, and
Yeah,
it just made you want to follow up on that. And where is this going? And I want more. Give me more. So
absolutely. And so for everyone who hasn't played it yet, highly recommended.
It's also got the next gen patch on it now as well for free.
For free.
Play it.
It is beautiful. It performs. I actually did a second playthrough with the patch. It's fantastic now with 60 FPS. So yeah, and for Survivor is running in Unreal 5 this time.
Yeah.
So you can bet that this is a looker. This is gonna be a real good one. Yeah, man. Like you said, the Game Awards. It's a time of the year, the end of the year, where we get a lot of new announcements. That's you can talk about Jeff Keighley all you want, and I've done my fair share of criticizing him. I'm still not a fan of his, but the Game Awards have become that festival at the end of the year where a lot of publishers and developers use the stage to announce stuff. So Jedi Fallen Order, take it of course with a grain of salt, but Tom Henderson, he usually knows his stuff, and this close to the
reliable.
And this close to the show, I think this could be true. We also expect Dragon Age to be there.
I mean, with Survivor, we knew it was 2023, so it makes sense that they would be now showing, okay, this is the tail end of 22. We'll show some gameplay and the release date.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, man, this is going to be awesome. I cannot wait.
Only one thing it's also going to do as well is for those who haven't played Fallen Order, seeing Jedi Survivor might make them eventually come and pick it up or play it on Game Pass Ultimate, which you can do.
And if you don't have Game Pass Ultimate, just stay a little longer in the show. We will have a code for you later.
Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, it's if you haven't played it, this might, specifically seeing this trailer, which makes sense, will get people interested in playing the one just before Christmas and maybe even pre-ordering the next one because of that trailer. So you never know. It's a good idea.
Absolutely. I mean, the Christmas sale will start. If you guys don't want to spend your money right now in the Black Friday sale, just wait for the Christmas sale, which is around the corner, and then it makes so much sense. And I've said this before also with Xbox. Why is Xbox using the Game Awards stage for those big announcements, like a console, like their biggest blockbusters, like Hellblade 2 or Perfect Dark? And we get to Hellblade 2 in a second. But why are they using that? Because it is a stage where, like, the entire gaming community looks at this stage. If you think about the Xbox showcase, the Xbox showcase is for the Xbox fans. I would bet that most people that watch the Xbox showcase are already invested to some degree in the Xbox ecosystem. Yeah. If you don't own an Xbox and you're not interested in Xbox or anything, you're not gonna watch the Xbox showcase. There will be a couple of Sony PlayStation fanboys, of course, watching the show, and vice versa. By the way, of course, the Sony shows are watched also by Xbox fans. But if the show itself is for fans, while the Game Awards are watched by the entire gaming community, and so you also reach customers, fans of Nintendo, fans of PlayStation, fans of PC gaming, fans of indies, fans of mobile. They all watch the show, and suddenly you have an audience that actually suddenly sees, hey, wow, Xbox is gonna have this amazing looking Hellblade 2. Yeah. That's why the Game Awards have become so important, and third-party publishers know that as well. Yeah, if you show off your pardon me, your new Dragon Age on, let's say, the Xbox stage, Xbox game fans are gonna see that, but you also want the PC fans and the PlayStation fans, and everyone in the gaming community to see it. So it makes sense to use such a stage like the Game Awards. Cannot wait for the Game Awards, but I want to use this as a segue in something that made me excited this week. Seriously excited. I know you too, because you're also. I think it's probably one of your most anticipated games, right? Is that fair to say? Hellblade 2?
Yeah. I designed a console specifically for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely excited for it. It's mainly because I know the talent of the studio, the technical prowess that they've got now, and the level of craft that they've put into this game. I've been watching the developer diaries all the way through as well, and they've been really interesting to see how they've went about things, how they've specifically went to Iceland to record the sound of ice creaking and ice movements and water and just ambient sounds from Iceland and panoramic views and taking kind of photogrammetry of all of the parts of Iceland that are going into the game. It's the level of detail and the level of kind of artistry that's going into this is phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. Absolutely. Tamim Antoniadis, the studio head and of course the game director, he said Hellblade 2 is gonna make Hellblade 1 look like an indie game. So the ambition is definitely there. This game is gonna be on an entire another level, like the first one was, and the first one was already amazing. Don't get me wrong, but like you said, the level of detail. They built their own material scanner in the studio, because they didn't find anything on the market that satisfied their needs and their target to have like this top-notch game. So they just built their own scanner. This is just an incredibly talented team, and their ambition is over the moon. And this week
that doesn't even just stay on just the technical aspects from a studio perspective. All the vast majority of the designers and etc. have actually been doing the mocap, which is what we're going to get into. And they all learned sword combat, hand combat, fighting. The lady who I keep forgetting her name,
Melissa Jürgens.
Yes, Melissa Jürgens. Specifically trained with her boyfriend, who's an MMA fighter, to learn combat and things like that. And so it's the time and the effort that the studio as a whole has put in.
They hired also the guy, I forgot his name.
The choreography from Star Wars. Yes,
exactly. Yes, who has been choreographing the lightsaber fight. So, man, I think the combat was probably one of the biggest criticisms of the first one, being relatively simplistic with same animation work, repetitive animation work. And they said they heard that loud and clear, and they're gonna address that. And like you said, they put so many things in motion that this is just gonna be amazing.
And you think, and you thought the 3D audio was good on the first one. The 3D audio is going to be insane on this.
It's called, actually, I made an entire video on this because a couple of months ago they gave an update on binaural audio and how they're going to use that again and what they changed. So if you guys in chat are interested, definitely check it out. It's still on my channel, obviously. Like the binaural is more than 3D. The binaural audio, how it basically works is when they record the audio, they put like a mannequin in the studio and they put the microphones on the ears of the mannequin, so they have the exact same distance like when you watch it, listen to it on your headphones. And then they have the people, like if my mic here is now the mannequin with the mics in the ears, and then they have the audio, the voice actors like walking around this this head, like, so that the voice moves like from here to here, and
Yeah,
this
and then getting
only
closer and then walking past, so
walking
it, like,
away
sounds
and getting close, and it's amazing, what they do. This technology is called binaural audio, and if you replay that, you have like, a 3D like effect on a surround system or whatever, or your TV speakers or soundbar or whatever. But if you put on headphones, and everyone who played the first one knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, if you put on headphones, you get the exact same sound replication than when they recorded it, and that's only possible with, of course, the headphone, if you have the headphones on, and that is why this audio is so immersive. And man, speaking of this, I'm tempted to download the first one again, because now I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about this. This is like top-notch audio quality. Like, I think
like
to
I
this
said,
day,
it's not just like it's not just obviously the binaural as well. They've went, like I mentioned, they went into such depths as to record the literal ambient sounds
yeah,
of where it's the setting is, like ice creaking, like water droplets, like rain, like storms, snow, the sound of footsteps on snow. Everything's been recorded to the point where everything, when you are wearing headphones, not only are you getting these binaural audio voices in your head, which obviously replicates a mental state,
yeah,
but then
yeah,
you've also got the ambience of the noise that is, again, 3D surrounded in you anyway, so it feels like you're in the game.
yeah.
It's if it, I'd be surprised if they don't win awards for the audio in this one again, because it is absolutely next level what they're going
Yeah,
for.
it is. And they didn't only record the audio there. They went with the Quixel team, which is like
Yes.
probably the one of the best, if not the best, studios for scanning technologies of like
Yeah, mega
surfaces.
scans.
Great meta scans, exactly, to scan like the entirety of Iceland, like from the smaller rocks to the bigger biomes of the greens and the water and the caves and everything. They even tried to scan the mist right there. Yeah, it's like Quixel is top notch. And when you combine that top notch quality from the dedicated scans that they do of Iceland with the Unreal 5 engine, you know that this is gonna be insanely good looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let me shout out
Like you mentioned,
Fantasy.
the scanning tool as well,
Yeah,
that they did for the materials, but and again on that side, they essentially created the entire outfits for all of the characters, etc., and then scanned them in, so they're actual physical outfits that they've then
yeah.
scanned in to then put in the game. They haven't created the textures in the game. They've made them. They physically made them
They
and then
said
scanned
they
them into it.
created all the costumes and everything in reality.
Yeah,
Everything you see in the game, they created in reality and then scanned it. That's crazy.
yeah. It's
Um,
it's just honestly, like, the more you actually look into how much they've put into this game,
yeah, yeah.
the more excited you get for it, because it's just like such a level of detail is second to none. We only like, and I've mentioned this with a lot of things, is if the story's as good as the first one or better than the first one, which I no doubt it will be, and kind of her experience and how it progresses on this one
Yeah.
is better than the first, then yeah, we're in for a real treat.
Yes, we are. That's why I want to shout out Fantasy because he's spot on. He's a channel member for 4 months now, man.
Nice.
Appreciate the support. That's awesome. It's been 4 months already, man. Shout out to you. And with that, the channel members get like free super chats every month, I think.
Yes.
I don't know exactly how
Milestone
often.
chats.
Yeah, YouTube grants them. And he sends in the super chat and says, Hellblade plus headphones freaks me out, but great. Thumbs up. Yeah, man, it's freaky. Because it is really hard to describe, because binaural audio design is more than 3D audio. It's just more. So definitely awesome. Dude, and this game now reached a significant milestone. A real significant milestone. And I don't get why people don't talk about it. Too many people probably caught up in the ABK deal and then we missed that, but that's why we are here for. They finished this week all motion captures. The entire motion capture work of Senua's Saga is finished, and they even posted a couple of photos. So if you go to their socials, Twitter and everywhere else, Instagram and so on, they finished photos of the entire team, wrapping like motion capture up. And you know what automatically came to my mind? Like a week or two ago, we had on this show a talk about what we expect Xbox to show at the Game Awards. And you mentioned something. Dude, you're in my head. You are in my head. Because it's true. I immediately thought of you, what you said. Because you said a couple of weeks ago, you expect them to announce the release date for Hellblade 2. Because they have shown the game for the first time with CGI in 2019. In 2021, they've shown for the first time gameplay. And then you said, you called it the hat trick. Yeah. Why not announce the release date? Now, with all motion captures finished, the game is obviously not in early stage anymore. All motion captures done, guys. That means, okay, they are now entering up the phase where they polish everything up. They bring everything together. Obviously, with that, the story must be done. Of course, there are definitely certain things that need to be still worked on, but this is a big milestone, and it just made me think, man, maybe it's not as far away as we all think. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I've full confidence in that team, to be honest. They've been working on it for a number of years, and by a number of years, I mean literally the moment that the first one finished, they were already working on the second one. The only thing that slowed the development down was the fact that mocap had to pause because of COVID. There was no other way to do that, so they had to pause mocap, which is a large section of the game, naturally, especially when you've got the entire studio, essentially. Everybody in that photo you mentioned works as a designer, as an artist, or something within the studio that has also learned the combat to do mocap. So it's the level of like we mentioned the level of detail, but that is kind of exactly what they were waiting for to kind of push this game on into the final stages, was get this mocap done, and that was the thing that was delayed. The rest of the game, they could do the audio somewhat, they could do a lot of the photography and things, because of course you can distance yourself when you're doing things like that. You can do a lot of the kind of design work from home, and a lot of the scanning can be done kind of one person going in, scanning some things, and then coming back out again. So things could be done, but of course, naturally, a lot of the things were held up because of the mocap. Now mocap's been progressing nicely. We had the news that mocap is done, which means now, as you mentioned, they can put in the finishing touches, which is essentially putting all of these moves and these character moves and things into the game so that everything is a bit more fluid now. They can make sure kind of the optimization of all the separate characters and the way they react and things is now kind of coming to fruition fully. So essentially, I still stand by it. I do believe this game comes out next year. It's got a really big chance of it, I think. And like we mentioned, why not the hat trick?
Why not the hat trick? I mean, when we talked about this a few weeks ago, I was like, dude, no way. I don't think they're gonna do that. They will announce that date when they know that they can reach it, when it's a realistic thing. But now with mocap finished and everything just needs to be put together and polished up and tweaked, of course. And I don't think it's unrealistic if we speculate about a potential release date of holiday season 2023. Yeah, I don't think that's super unrealistic. Let us know in chat. What do you think? Is this something? Yeah, definitely want to know from you guys as well. But yeah, Dutch, holiday game. What do you think?
I think it could be earlier. The reason I say earlier is because we could
Even earlier than that, dude.
we could end up seeing, because again, we've got to think what they're trying to juggle next year as well. We could end up seeing Starfield as the holiday game. We know how big a deal Starfield is for Microsoft and Bethesda. We're talking about, of course, we know how big Hellblade is. We know how big Hellblade is to us. But when you're talking about the grand scheme of things, as to who has the bigger loyalty and the bigger fan base and more eyes on it, people are much more excited for Starfield on the grand scheme of things than they are for Hellblade. A lot of people still haven't played Hellblade 1. They might not be interested in Hellblade 1 because, again, and we all understand the complaints. The combat wasn't the most elaborate. It was pretty basic. It was good, but it was basic. It was more of a puzzle game. I don't think this time around we're going to get that same kind of Hellblade. I think there is obviously still going to be some puzzles in it, but I think it's going to be a little bit more of kind of an action adventure with puzzles in. It's going to be a bit more to it this time around. A lot more to it, in fact. I see them putting Starfield out as the holiday game next year. It sounds strange to say that far out for Starfield, but I think it's because it's that big. It needs.
I know. I refuse to believe you, but I know it's a real possibility.
I think it's mainly just it's got. I don't think it's got anything to do with the fact of the game being ready or not ready. I think it's because it makes sense for them to release it in the build up to Holiday 23, as opposed to release it middle of the year. We never know, but in terms of financially, they could see that as right. Okay, this is the perfect opportunity. This is like our big game for Holiday 23, and they could release Hellblade late summer. I could see it releasing kind of maybe August, September, and then you've got maybe November as a release date again. Literally 1 year on from its original release date.
11/11/2023.
Literally 1 year on.
Yeah. I know it's a real possibility. I get that. Even though they said it's,
I don't think it's down to. I do not think that would be down to anything to do with Starfield not being done or anything. I think the game will be done by that point.
I know what you mean.
By mid-year.
Like you want to have that. You have blockbuster titles, and Hellblade is going to be one of those blockbuster titles, no doubt. But there are blockbuster titles, and then you have like these
mega titles,
mega events in gaming. Yeah, exactly. And
you need good space for those.
Yeah, and Starfield is probably the only like real mega event that Xbox has in the pipeline, as at least what's announced so far. Like, I mean, why do I say that? Simply because Skyrim was one of those games, where like, okay, that is a pivotal moment, like a milestone moment for in game releases. Like the same is a GTA, yeah. And I'm not saying that GTA and Starfield are gonna be on the same level. Like nothing beats GTA, obviously, but but from, like you said, even if you think about a game like Avowed, which is still probably my most anticipated Xbox first-party game, it's not gonna be like a Starfield. That game is gonna be massive, and that could be. I could see. I totally get your point. I just refuse to believe it because, man, I want to play Starfield. I want to really play Starfield. And it kind of depends on what else has Xbox in the pipeline for the second half of the year.
I just can't see them. Like, for instance, I can't see So I can see Forza dropping the first section of the year, the very first section of the year, so the first 3 months. I can see Redfall dropping after that.
Yeah.
I don't see why they would put Starfield at E3 time.
I can see that. Actually, that would I see you, Paul. I see.
So.
Let me shout out Paul in chat because he says they specifically said at E3 release for the next 12 months. Yeah, we know. They also said a lot of other things over the last years that they couldn't keep their promises with, and delays just happen. And I expect one of those games to get delayed. Yeah, but I think it's Forza. I think they will delay Forza to more towards the fall holiday season, like an October release or something. I think Redfall is pretty far along in development. We've seen so much of the game.
I think they're just waiting to give the release date on that one now. I think it's done.
Yeah. So I think that is they're gonna open the year with that. Actually, I think like that's a February release or something.
That's a good possibility. Actually, they could just maybe end of January drop that one.
End of January, February.
Age of Empires, because Age of Empires is I think the 13th.
Yeah, but so that's H2, Age of Empires 2 on consoles. H4 doesn't have a release date just yet. Yeah, so. But yeah, and then I see where do they put Starfield. So the question is, Starfield needs room to breathe because people will need 100+ hours to beat the game. So Starfield, easily, yeah. Like I'm not talking about me. I'm not rushing the game. 100 hours is rushing the game.
That's not even the side quests.
Yeah. So where do you position that? Does it make sense to put it in the holiday season, where you have like your Call of Duties come out, you like all the other blockbusters will come out. Spider-Man is still scheduled for that. I know that Starfield is big enough so that it doesn't have to be scared of anything. But at the same time, a lot of people will just say, "Oh man, I'm just waiting for the Christmas break to play that, or all for that because I can beat like I don't know, Call of Duty in a couple of hours, and I can beat that game in a couple of hours, or that game." And so I'm not sure. And someone would actually make sense. Like put it in June. You go off the E3 stage with the big hype. Like people get to play it now on the show floor. E3 is in person, so they will have like the booths where you can play that, and you get off that excitement, that E3 excitement. That's always when the hype is in the air, and then you get off and you have like this big summer blockbuster that you can play through the entirety of July and August, where we don't have any major releases usually. So I could see that happening. And Starfield is still big enough in the holiday season to sell there as well.
I could equally see it happening with Hellblade, though.
But man, do you really think Hellblade is only like, man, we are already at the end of November. So do you really think like Hellblade is like 6-7 months away?
Yeah.
Is it this close?
I think it's close. I think it's closer than people think. I think, to be honest, I think the problem we're going to have is going to be fitting Avowed, Hellblade, and Starfield all in next year. And we know Avowed was very close to being this year. In fact, it was pretty much, as far as they were concerned, it was set to release this year, and they made the decision internally to push it back to next year. Now, obviously, it didn't have an actual release date. Nobody knew anything about that, but as far as they were aware of internally, that game was pretty much near the end of its completion.
Yep. Yeah, it's what we hear. That's what we hear. I think so, like that delay was
Avowed, Hellblade, and Starfield. Dear God, help us all.
There are other games coming.
Yeah,
we know about Rocksteady coming out with Suicide Squad. We know that Diablo 4, dude, there's another 200 hours gone easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Shinji's
good.
asking when do we think Contraband's going to be fitting in as well?
Hmm.
I think
That's
it's going to be
also.
24. I think the
You
game
think?
could. It depends on how they schedule it or how they view that game. Do they release that game because they don't view it as a big title? For instance, they might view it as maybe as a AA game.
Yep.
And put that just as a Game Pass kind of thing alongside the likes of Redfall or alongside a Hellblade or
So in
alongside
between,
yeah.
or in between, like some of the real
the
big
big ones.
releases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
of
we don't
course
know.
we know of Contraband, but I don't think nobody knows what Contraband really is. We know it's a co-op game. We know it's kind of co-op heisty, but we don't really know anything about it. So no one's
No, we
really
don't.
got much hype around it.
Yeah.
So,
No.
and I think that kind of potentially works in Microsoft's favor. They kind of just like, okay, it's kind of going under the radar. So if it does release next year, we can kind of just slip it in. And if it becomes a big hit, happy days.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be. I mean, at the end, they have that scheduling issue with delaying so many games for so many years. Like the pipeline is getting stuck. No, what's the proper English word? Full. It's just full and crowded, and at some point it's gotta burst, and then you have definitely a phase where you have maybe even too many, and you don't know where to position them.
It's the internal decisions that they'll have to make as to, we know these games are done, but we have to pace them out, because what they don't want to do is have too many releases in one time, because people will not play them. And the one thing they've stressed over the last few years is player engagement, and what they really want is the engagement numbers on the games that they release to remain at a constant level. They don't want people to just jump off them like 2 seconds later. They want people to be able to play their games and continue to play their games.
Yeah.
So I think the major issue next year, and even maybe over into 2024, is the scheduling. I think they're going to have to. There's going to be some big meetings, I think, over the coming months as to
how to properly lay them out.
How are we going to organize this? Because this is, and even speak to the studio heads and just say, listen, do you need any more time, or is this done? Like, is
it done, or what could you do with another? Yeah, I think like the questions proposed is like, what could you do with another 3, 6, or 12 months? So make an action plan. What would it mean for the game XYZ? Yeah, what would it mean for a Perfect Dark or an Avowed or a Fable to get 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months extra time? So what would that mean? And I think like those discussions, they are definitely there, because I made, like, prior to the E3 show this year, or Xbox showcase this year, a video where I did a little research in how long these games that we know about actually have been in development. And it's, with some of these games, it's really ridiculous, where we talk like 6, 7 years now. And at that point, you kind of have to come to that point where you have to release the game. Otherwise, it's not going to be a business case anymore. You will never make the money back. If you develop a game like a Hellblade 2 for 10 years, you just wouldn't. I think it's going to be really interesting. And I also want to see if Xbox is going to stick with the E3 thing of only showing games for the next 12 months next year. Because if they do that next year, I didn't like it this year. It's no secret. I'm not a fan this year.
I was going to say, I think next year it would work better, but this year, the reason I think it didn't work was because they didn't have enough to release in the next 12 months.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. That's the problem with this 12-year format. You can't do that 12-year format if you fill out the next 12 months with games full of excitement. But the real exciting games that they have shown, like a Starfield, like a Redfall, like a Forza, they are all at the very end of those 12 months.
Yeah.
So for the next
So
6 to
6
9
months had
months,
nothing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, nothing. Well, not taking away anything from Pentiment, haven't played it yet, but you guys know what we mean. Yeah, hopefully,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And I think
no big first parties in 22. So the first, so essentially
exactly,
the 12 month was actually 6 months because it was just 6 months
yeah,
of 23.
and not even in the third party Game Pass deal space. There was really also outside maybe of a
Yeah,
Plague's
the last
Tale.
big Game Pass deal this year is
Was a
High on
Plague's
Life.
Tale.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
High on
High on Life,
Life.
the last
But
big
even
one.
High on Life, as much as we are excited about the game, I don't think it packs the same punch like a Redfall, like a Forza
Yeah.
or,
Oh,
or
I agree. I agree.
Starfield. It's
I
not even
agree.
close. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So
just saying that's the last big one of 23. Like that is where it ends, which is the beginning of kind of next month.
yeah,
But there
man.
was, from first party perspective, there was nothing. Pentiment was the only first party.
Yes.
I mean,
You
outside
could
of
argue Grounded, but then
yeah,
again, Grounded has
yeah,
been out for 2 years.
yeah. And
So
we're not going to count the other one as well that was out on PlayStation first. I'm not
Deathloop.
counting that. Yeah, I'm not counting Deathloop. So it's been out.
Yeah,
Yes, we're
yeah.
only getting it played for the first time, but I'm not. That's
Yeah, it's been
no, I'm
out
not
on
counting that.
PS5. It's been out on PC for a while, so
Yeah,
yeah. I totally get that, man. Yeah,
yeah.
so next year that format could work. So yeah, we shall see, man. We
I
shall.
still think though, and I think everyone will agree. I still think it's nice to see a glimpse of the future. You don't need to do
Yeah,
like uber long. You can do your full 12 months, and then you go at the very end of the show, like a little 10-minute segment, and you go, and here's a glimpse to what we're working on in the future. And you just show like then you get your little CGI sizzle reels, back-to-back announcements of
yeah,
all these games that you're working on for future pipeline. But
yeah.
you keep the focus of the core of the show as what's coming up in 12 months. This is what you can expect to play. You've got your release dates, you've got your games. There's your big
Exactly,
announcements. And then at the very end, a nice little like 10-minute segment of CGI announcements or pop-up like animations, whatever it
exactly.
is, just to say, this is what we've got also in the works.
And then finish
That's
out
it.
with a bang.
Yeah.
You have that at the end of the show. You have a CGI trailer for something amazing that is 3 years, 4 years out.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Even something that's like a deal that's just been agreed for an IP or something. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
might have had like a Star Wars or a Marvel IP or something ridiculous. Like that's how
exactly.
you finish the show. You just
Yeah.
go boop, and then you put the logo on screen, and then
Mm.
you end. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, that, and then people get excited, and that's what it's about. It's not about saying, oh well, oh when we're gonna see this. No, we know what we're going to play in 12 months, but
yeah.
it's also nice to get excited for what the future is. And this is one of the things that I've hated about Sony this year is they've had nothing
Nothing.
for
Nothing.
me to get excited for next year. Like zero. I'm not a Spider-Man fan, so what have I got to look forward to next year?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's no. Actually, what else do you have outside of Spider-Man?
Forspoken.
I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. I
Final
cannot
Fantasy.
wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
But but yeah, Sony has always been really good in laying out their
Yep.
pipeline. I think
Yep.
they sold the PS4 on hope. They truly do, because if we look at the beginning of the generation PS4 and Xbox One, if we look at the beginning of that gen, it wasn't really about content differences. Both had games. Xbox had games at launch. They had, whether you like them or not, that's
Yeah.
an entire different story. But Xbox had games. That's no doubt. Sony as well, but at the beginning, if you remember, we all called it the indie station because there weren't the big first party AAA exclusives that they are now known for. They weren't there in 2013 or 14. I think they kicked it off with Uncharted in 2015. And
Yeah.
but what have they done? They have shown their roadmap. They have shown Death Stranding 5 years before the game came out. The game didn't even have an engine yet. Yeah, they have shown like a God of War, like a Days Gone, and people were excited. They knew, okay, if I invest now in PlayStation, I will get those games later down the road. And they have completely abandoned that strategy, and Microsoft has adopted to that. Like even in 2020, if you remember, like the first year of the pandemic, where the showcase was so. But if you think about it, what they have shown, they have done exactly that. They have shown their playbook for this gen. They have announced an Hellblade, a Fable, an Avowed, Perfect Dark. We now know that those games are coming. Yeah, that's what they have done. And we know if I invest now in Xbox, I'm getting eventually, and I know the waiting period is long, but eventually I will get those games. I know what I get when I invest in the Xbox ecosystem. Doesn't mean that they don't have a couple of surprises up their sleeves. But Sony, we have no idea what to expect this gen from them. No idea outside of the 2 Insomniac games, Spider-Man and Wolverine. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the major problem that I've got. Is the
how
fact
did
that
we
there
get to this point? Actually, what were we talking about? No idea.
We were talking about Hellblade and talking about its release date. Then we were talking about the roadmap and how to fit Hellblade and Starfield in. And then we were talking about Avowed. And then
we always do that. Like literally, I have here this is the list of topics I wanted to talk about. We have now covered 3 of them.
Yeah,
3. We've talked about Zenimax, CMA, and Hellblade. So, and we are almost at the 2-hour mark already, dude. But that's what's happening if you digress, and I love to digress because it's just what we do. We just love chatting about games and gaming, man. But what we need to talk about. Let's bring this around back to at least another topic that we wanted to cover, and that is on screen right now. The Witcher 3. Yeah, no secret how much I love the game. I've done 4.5 entire playthroughs of the game already, including all DLC. I finished it twice on Xbox. I finished it on PC. I finished it on the Switch, and I'm halfway through another playthrough on Xbox. It's I just love the game. I truly do. And we knew about the next gen patch and that it's coming and that it's still scheduled for this year, but we had no idea what does it mean. What's next gen about it? Because, and I said this yesterday on your show as well, that the game already ran at 4K 60 FPS on Xbox Series consoles. On the Xbox One X, the game has a performance mode with dynamic resolution, and usually it scales down to like 1080p or something unless you stare into the sky. But it has an unlocked resolution, so base resolution is still 4K, and it just dynamically drops down. So with the extra horsepower in the Series X, the game already ran at 4K 60. So the question was really, what do they add? And they added a ton of things. Man, let me read the list. At least a couple of things. So we now will have on Xbox Series and of course also on PS5 a 60 FPS performance mode or a 30 FPS quality mode, which then has real-time ray-traced global illumination, which is absolutely awesome. Ray-traced ambient occlusion, also in there. FSR2 implementation on console. They have reworked foliage, improved textures, and the level of detail is increased. You can now pause cutscenes. You have new subtitles, so minor things like convenience stuff. And then they add cross-progression through all systems. So I'm really looking forward to jumping back and forth between the PC and the console version. And they will add a photo mode. It's finally getting a photo mode. And you know that I will be spending like probably at least 50 hours just taking pictures.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Good Lord, what have they done to us? And that's not all. They will they will add a couple of new quests, which are tied to the new armor you can find in the game. They also added a few new armors, and they have added smaller quest lines for that, but still new quests. They have not really talked about the tie-in content of the Netflix show. So have still yet to learn that, and that's what they said at the end. They have more awesome stuff to announce for the update a little closer to the launch on December 14th. So,
Yeah.
Dutch, I want to hear from you. How excited are you exactly about this patch? Because, like, let me tell you before I go into some details, I was pretty impressed. I did not expect them to change that much, honestly. How about you?
Yeah, we were both in an agreement before they announced the patch. We expected, specifically when it comes to ray tracing, it to be very dialed down. We thought maybe shadows, and we didn't expect them to
Yeah,
do full global illumination and ambient occlusion. That's like next level.
yeah,
But it
absolutely.
also makes sense as to why they're saying, okay, we have a quality mode and a performance mode now, because of course, not only have you added ray tracing, but you've also added a higher level of detail. You've added higher
Dude, have you
texture
seen some
quality.
of the comparison videos?
Yes, phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. Like, I was, when they said increased level of detail, I think, okay, and then you have like an extra tree like 5 kilometers away or so.
Yeah,
But it's amazing, dude. The texture work, like the grass, the stones, the gravel, everything. It's amazing how much of a difference it makes.
yeah. It's insane the amount of work that they've put into it, and it's no wonder it's took a while to do. Hats off, because it looks phenomenal. I'm glad personally, for me, I'm not bothered. I'm going to be playing this with ray tracing and the full bells and whistles on 30 frames. I know people are going to love or want to just be playing that game on 60, but I want to see what what Witcher can do with
Great.
full RT.
Yeah.
It's going to look, especially with the real time kind of global illumination and everything included, that is going to be just
That's why
especially
I
when you're
will
talking
also
about,
will go to PC as well, at
yeah,
least just to see how it looks. Just to see how it looks, because like on the 3080, it must look insane. And
yeah,
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 and
definitely,
it,
definitely. It's just surprising how much they've put into this, and this is just like not even the start, as you mentioned yesterday as well. Like, they've got more to talk about that they haven't announced yet, and they're excited to talk about that soon. But just what they've included in just this update um, is phenomenal.
it's
So
phenomenal.
I can't wait. I am excited, because I was one of those that I played about 40 hours of the game. Um, we're going back when it released, by the way. So 40 hours of the game.
Yeah.
Then had the holiday season, so I went on holiday and then come back and then back to work and things like that. And I just had put the game down. Then when I tried to get back into the game, I completely forgot everything. So the save felt almost useless, because I didn't know how to play the game anymore. Forgot how to craft or create potions, or where I needed to go, what I was up to in the story, what the story was about anymore, because I completely forgot what I was doing. So then I thought, right, I'll start again, and then I just didn't. And then, because I was going, well, I tried to actually. I got a little bit into it, but not far. And I thought, you know what it is? I'm not going to jump into it now, because they have announced that they're working on a next generation patch.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to park the bus. When this comes
And
out,
wait.
I'm going to jump
Yeah.
in properly.
It's good.
And
You're gonna
I
love it,
really
dude.
enjoyed when I was playing it the first time. The first 40 hours that I played, I was really enjoying it. I got up to the part where you start to fight the members of the Wild Hunt. And that was starting to get interesting. I was like, "Oh, like, these guys are a pain in the arse." And when you start to have the issues with Triss and the other one, and they keep teleporting you into different places when they get mad, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, this is good. This is funny." And I was really enjoying the story. But like I say, it's just unfortunate I put it down for holiday and just didn't get back into it. But I can't wait to. I can't wait to. It's going to be a kind of a Christmas break game for me. It's
Oh
going to
yeah.
be something I deep dive into.
When it's cold outside and you just gonna sit down on the couch, controller in the hand, and you can immerse yourself in this amazing world and this amazing story and the incredible side quests. You will absolutely love it. You will absolutely love it.
Yeah,
Let me shout out Paul AFC, who has been a channel member for 17 months. Brothers, thank you so much for the support. He writes in and says, "Lads, for me, 2023 Game Pass needs to deliver its promise of 4 AAA per year. Otherwise, questions should be asked." Yeah,
I agree. But I don't think
I
we're going to have
agree.
that issue next year.
I think so. I think so.
Wholeheartedly, I
That's
think
my
it's going to
thing with
over-deliver.
Xbox. Xbox biggest problem is consistency.
Yeah.
They always have these waves where they ride on the highs, but they need to keep it there. That's the problem. Yeah.
The thing is,
like
I'm not
21.
concerned about 23. I'm more concerned about can they be consistent into 24. I think
into
23 is
24
gonna
and
be fine.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like 23 and 4, those will be the years where, like earlier I said, the pipeline is bursting. And then the question is there enough backup? Can they keep it up to then like continue that in they will have 1 or 2 amazing years, no doubt. The question is, can they keep that up? That's my concern, man. But on the other hand, if you look at how many studios they own already, and with ABK
by that point,
how can you screw it up? So that's the question. Yeah, I mean, but it's we shall see, man. Paul, good shout. I also want to briefly shout out, even if it wasn't a photo mode. Thresh, he says, don't forget they update the spell casting in Witcher, and it looks good and fun, and a new camera mode. Yeah, man, especially the camera mode. They have implemented a new camera mode that it looks more like, where it gets closer to the character. It looks more like the camera in God of War or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, indeed. Dude, The Witcher. Gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
But
the one thing I love about CDPR and their photo mode on Cyberpunk was just how much you could do with it.
Yeah.
So if they've implemented that level of photo mode into Witcher, we're going to be having fun. It's going to be a case of being able to like pause him doing spells and pause him like thrashing his sword. And it's going to be. There's a lot of the things that you struggle to do without the ability to pause your characters, because of course you've got to try and time it right when you're in the middle of combat, and then vital
and then you have all the HUD in the picture and everything. Yeah, man. It's I faked in my last playthrough. I faked photo mode. Like you can go to the menu, turn all of the HUD and everything, and then of course you can try to position the camera a little bit, but it's not even close. But at least it gives you like cool screenshots without the HUD in the way. But yeah, man, photo mode in Witcher. We are living in good times, man. We are living in good times. You know what also is a good time? Game Pass.
Yes.
And we have a 3-month giveaway still waiting here. We're doing now. We have a couple of other things we wanted to discuss.
Yeah,
you know what's good times? We were speaking about good times this year. Good times is going to be Callisto Protocol.
Yeah.
And Callisto had a little controversy this week, because people can be douchebags. They can. Came out and accused the team over there from Glenn Schofield and the team of withholding content for a potential DLC. And he came out and said the following. Oh, my thing is gone here. No, they are not holding anything back from the main game, the creator says. He says they'll be the DLC will be created after the game is released because of fan demand. So, that's why they do it. They haven't even. He talked a little bit more
because in the article you're mentioning, they said that they were putting death animations behind the DLC, so cutting it out of the game and putting it into DLC, and they said no, that's completely not true. Like, the fans asked for more death animations, so naturally we're going to give them some more. We're going to create some more for the new DLC, but everything we've created so far is going into the game. Like, there is nothing being held back. So the article itself was it was a bit of a shady one, to be fair. I don't know why they went that route. It was kind of like attacking the studio for something that wasn't true.
Yeah.
And then the studio had to defend themselves against the lie.
Indeed.
It's
Baffling.
It's
baffling. So no worries about Callisto. We are
Yep.
getting the full game, and if we enjoy it, we will get a little later some DLC.
Yep.
What also happened in the gaming world is Splinter Cell. We got an interesting update there. And we do that before the giveaway, but definitely I need to talk to you about this. So Splinter Cell, we all know it's been long overdue that we get a new one. Yeah, what happened? Ubisoft came out and talked about the remake, and they said that we are aiming to create a top tier remake. They wanna get the engine right. They want to get the storytelling right. They will change certain things of the story from the original game in order to bring it more to modern days and to set and now I quote, a good foundation for the franchise going forward. So the remake is not just there to remake the game, but they want to set the foundation for the IP, for the franchise to go forward. To me, dude, that sounds like another Splinter Cell is coming. A new one is coming. What do you make of this?
It's good news that there's a new one coming, but I'm still going to wait and see on how they handle the remake.
Yeah.
The reason I say that, of course, is even though people like The Division, the way they've handled Ghost Recon hasn't been the best. They were okay. They were good fun in places, but it certainly wasn't the Ghost Recons we used to get. And they've attempted. I mean, even more recently, they attempted to do something called X Defiant, or Tom Clancy's X Defiant. And then, because of backlash, removed Tom Clancy's out of that entirely. So it is now just X Defiant whenever that releases. Nothing to do with Tom Clancy. So basically just abusing the name of Tom Clancy and putting it on anything that they create that involves guns. So my main issue is how Ubisoft handled the remake first and foremost. I'll get excited about the future of Splinter Cell when I've seen what happens to the remake. Do I think they'll do a good job? I hope so. I really hope so. Not just on a story front, but like you don't want to change the formula too much, and they changed the formula too much with Ghost Recon, I think, specifically on Breakpoint. Wildlands was okay. People quite enjoyed Wildlands, but then like Breakpoint just went south a bit.
Yeah. I mean, you know what it is with Ubisoft? They have their ups and downs as well. Like you said, a couple of IPs, they haven't treated them well. Then others they have treated really well. Like The Division is a very good example. Rainbow Six, also they treated that IP really good over the last years. You could also say talk about an Assassin's Creed or Watch Dogs. They did some fantastic things with those, and they created cool new IPs like Immortals: Phoenix Rising, which was really, really good. So yeah, they have their ups and downs. I mean, with the remake, we know that the base game at least is awesome. So what do you need to screw it up? It's like if it looks good, you will have an awesome game because foundation is there. The question to me is still, Splinter Cell has always been beloved. It's not like if you look at the last releases, the last one was Blacklist, I think. It was really well received. So people have been asking, not those IPs that they drag out for years and they say, well, this or that could need a break. It wasn't like that with Splinter Cell. So why did they take a break this long? It's weird to me, but man, I have good hopes. I have good hopes in Ubisoft, honestly, for the Splinter Cell remake, and I cannot wait. I really cannot wait to see. They have also, by the way, been awfully quiet this year.
Yeah, they have.
They have. And the new Assassin's Creed game is coming out early next year. Like, I think this is March or April when it's scheduled. And Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage.
The entire 10-year pipeline of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. That was the only Ubisoft news this year, basically. And the delay of Skull and Bones again.
Yeah. To be fair, from what I've heard from those who played the beta, it's a good job that game's getting delayed.
Dude, I don't think that game will ever be good. Honestly,
I think it's a case now of they just need to get it out and just get rid of it.
Yeah, just get it out of the way.
Just do it. Just pull the plaster off. Just get rid of it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
You know what they try to do? Probably they will just like stealth drop that along a bigger Ubisoft title next year. Like either along with the Assassin's Creed game, because then nobody cares if it tanks, and because everyone will talk about Assassin's Creed, or they will drop it along the Avatar game, and then if it sucks, no one will care because everyone's talking about Avatar. So I think that's what's gonna happen with that game. It's weird. Skull and Bones is weird, man. Yeah. All right, man. All right, I think, dude, it's time to move on to the community questions.
Ooh, you're so good. Every day I hear the words from you.
Again, I can't wait when we have the Stream Deck and I can push buttons all day. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. All right, let's start the community questions with a community giveaway. Is it okay? Should we hold on?
Go on. Let's start it with the giveaway.
Let's start with the giveaway. And you guys know how we do this here in the at the World of Gaming. I just need to open the respective tab here, and so we have a 3-month giveaway for the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. This is a global code that it works also if you already subscribe to Game Pass. So it's not one of those promo codes that only work for new subscribers. It's a full proper 3-month Game Pass Ultimate code. So if you wanna have that, I want you to type in the chat #community. No capital letters, nothing else, by the way. If you type #community and something behind that, you won't be able to participate because then the tool won't pick you up. And let me share my screen while you guys drop the #communities in chat. Where are we here? Share screen, share this tab, the giveaway tool. There we go. #community. Like you see it here on screen, we're gonna give you guys a couple of minutes to type in the #community. So let me just make sure I chose the right stream. That's correct. All right. So #community. Pyromad. Okay, I can see you intentionally misspelled it. Okay, good. And Pineapple Broody is also in our Pineapple lover, Pineapple Pizza fan. Hertog Win is in the chat. You won't get 2 entries by typing in #community multiple times in the chat. Yeah,
I think you're trying to win some pineapple pizza now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's why he's participating. He wants to. He wants to win the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate Code so he can afford more pineapple pizza, and we cannot support that on this show. We cannot support that. So let us talk about the first community question because I love it. It's from the Big Bridge. He says, if you had a vehicle from any video game to travel to office every day, which one would it be and why?
Warthog.
Ooh, I love that. I love
easy Warthog. Has to be the one with the gun on the back though. You can't just
just waltz in it. No, the gun needs to be there. I want the Normandy from Mass Effect. I want to fly over there.
It would take like
and then
0.00001 second to get to work.
Exactly. Like, and then I would just jump off, like in Mass Effect 2, Shepard jumps out of the Normandy all the time above the planet, and I would just jump out there and be in the office. So, yeah, man, good question. So, with that, I hope everyone has put in #community, and we're gonna give everyone like the last 5 seconds. We have to always wait a little bit because of the delay in between us and YouTube. So let's do a countdown now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Who is the lucky winner? Who's gonna win a 3-month code? There we have it. Pyro Matt. Man, big congratulations. Dude, do me a favor. Hit me up on Twitter or somewhere so I can send you the code. That would be awesome. Big congrats, man. Big congrats. And thanks Dutch, again, for sponsoring this 3-month Xbox Ultimate code. So, yeah, good stuff. Let's switch to The Witcher again. There we go. Pyro, again, hit me up in the DMs, and you will get the code.
Sweet.
All right. So, Dutch,
like you mentioned, you're going to do some in the community stuff, so I thought I'd chip in with a giveaway on this show to get the ball rolling.
Get the ball rolling. Yeah, we're gonna do next week on the community special next Thursday. Again, for those who tuned in late, we're gonna do a community special episode next Thursday, where we have multiple guests from the community. Dave Ramos is joining, Retri is joining us, Estrays Gaming, and Peter. They're all gonna join us once again. We had that community special like couple of months ago, 3 months ago or so, and it was awesome. And they will come back, and we have another community special. And during that show, we're gonna do another giveaway. And we have, of course, next Saturday, December 3rd, the big highlight show of 2022 with ACG, with Lord Cognito and Ainsley from Seasoned Gaming. That's gonna be awesome, and we will also have a giveaway on that show. So lots of giveaways coming here to kick off the holiday season, and just to say thank you to this amazing community. But man, all right. Pyro says he will contact me on Twitter in a bit. That's no problem, dude. Take your time.
As well, Boxy. So when he contacts you, you've got it on Twitter.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you. All right, let's talk about some of the community questions. Waller Weasel says, we all know this feeling when you've finished a great game and you keep staring at the screen in awe for a moment while your mind is still stuck in this fictional world. Which game had this effect on you?
Oh, that's a good one. I think when I first started playing God of War 2018 is my most recent memory one. But I want to also give a shout out to an indie game from a few years back. Actually, that always pops into my mind every now and again. It's The Tourist. It's just something about that game that has stuck with me, and it was the voxel art and just the way that they created the game. It was nice. It was small. It was cool little puzzles. It was it was a nice, pleasant game to play, and it's just stuck with us, like the visuals and things from it as well since then. So yeah, shout out to The Tourist. That one sticks with me all the time, and then from a story perspective and the world building that God of War 2018 did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one had me thinking about that when I was at work, and then I was like, I just want to get home and play God of War. That's all I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, there have been so many games over the years. God of War was definitely one of them. Arkham City was one of them. Red Dead Redemption 1 was one of them. I could name a few. I want to shout out also a smaller game, Firewatch. Honestly, I don't know if you've played this. But that story, like, it just stuck with me. It wasn't the best game by any stretch of the means that I've played. But that story at the end, I was staring at like the credits, and I was like, "Whew, wow!"
Is it similar to the film adaptation he did?
I have no idea. Was there a film adaptation?
There was a film with Angelina Jolie about again a fire. I forgot what you called them. The fire wardens that protect the forests from the towers, and something happens, and she's got to protect this person throughout the forest, and it's like a big kind of chase goes on throughout this forest, but there's a fire keeps spreading throughout it whilst they're being chased, so they're kind of going throughout it, and it's being purposely set by somebody.
Okay.
So yeah, it's quite an interesting film. It's a really good film actually, but I've never played Firewatch myself, and I was wondering whether or not that sounded very similar to the game.
Well, little parts maybe, but I think that the story is different, at least from what you've described. I've never seen the movie, but Firewatch. Now it's really hard to how do I explain the story without spoiling it? At the opening of this game is like black screen and short sentences, text. And I thought like, okay, like it's like we're familiar with that. You read that, and okay, let's start the game. And you read those lines, and you read them, and suddenly it hits you, dude. They start off with just text. The text in the very beginning is so powerful, and it hits you in the guts, and it sets the tone. And I did not expect that. It sets the tone for the game. So something happens to the main antagonist that they describe in the very, very beginning of the game. And then you start, and he tries to escape from his actual life, and that's why he signs up for a Firewatch, where he has like this lookout tower in a forest, where he spends like the entire summer, just keeping an eye out for fires in the forest. And he talks the entire, and you don't. He's and then there's a second main person in the game, and they never see each other. They just talk over a walkie-talkie, and it's a walking simulator. All you do is walk. There's nothing else. There are no riddles. There are nothing. It's just you walking and chatting to someone on a walkie-talkie. And I know it sounds super boring, but since the way how the story is presented, and it's really, I liked it. I really did. It's also a very short game, so I don't know, 6 to 8 hours, something in that area, ballpark. So highly recommended. But you have to be in the mood for it, because it's not easy to digest. Okay. Enough advertisement for Firewatch. Let's go with Mr. George actually wrote in a question we answered earlier. He asked, will next year live up to the hype for Xbox, and will Microsoft actually release games consistently? Because he's sick of constantly waiting for the next year.
Yeah, I think next year will. I think we've both said this now, though.
Yeah.
It's a case of will they do that the year after
Yeah.
and the year after. And it's about being consistent now. I think next year will be the start, but they need to be consistent in 24 and then in 25 and beyond.
And that's the
because
challenge.
we've had one good year with Series X, and then it fell off.
21.
Yep. And then it just fell off a cliff this year.
Yeah.
And that's not what we can. Literally, Xbox can't have that. They cannot have that. They need to be consistent now.
Yeah,
So 23 needs to better 21. 21 was good, but needs to better 21. But it needs to stay on that level in 24 and then 25. They can't afford to keep doing this yo-yo maneuver again.
Exactly.
They can't do it.
I absolutely agree. I have nothing to add, and that's why we move to Ziki's question. He says, or asks, my Candy Crush loving friend bought a Series X for $400 for the first time. That's a steal. $400 for the Series X. Awesome price. But he asks, what single player or co-op games do you recommend for him? I love that.
Well, see,
Guys in chat, let us know some of your recommendations as well. I'd like to hear that.
I'm not even going to suggest a Microsoft game here. The best co-op experience I've had in the last year still remains as It Takes Two.
It Takes Two, absolutely.
What a phenomenal game that is. Like, I come off that game just shocked at how good that thing was. And obviously I'd played it on a charity stream, so me and General C played that thing to fruition from start to finish over 24 hours.
You guys are crazy, you know that.
Yeah. But it loved every minute of it. Of course, the latter stages, our brains weren't working anymore because we were that tired. So we struggled on a few puzzles near the end. But it was the fact that the mechanics changed every level, the biomes changed every level. The combat was always changing because you were a new character. You were changing it. Like, there was one stage that was like Diablo, or at least Diablo-esque, where you were like a wizard and a knight. And then the next stage you were like ice skating around the place, and then the next stage you were scuba diving, and it was just so phenomenal. The creativity, the characters, the story, like, masterpiece of a game. Like, that's one of the best indies I've ever played, and without a shadow of a doubt, the best co-op experience I think I've had from a kind of a narrative perspective as well.
Hotdog Win in chat recommends Sonic Frontiers. Yeah, okay. Just shut up, Pineapple Broody. Yeah. No, I can't speak about Sonic. I haven't played it yet. So, and everyone knows I love Hotdog Win. So, oh man, there's an entire list you could recommend. I mean,
actually, just to state that as well, for his friend, the best thing about It Takes Two is that if you own it, your friend doesn't need to own it to play it. He can just download it as a friend pass. He can download the game without buying it and
he can play with you. Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. So, of course, my recommendation would definitely be get Game Pass. So now it makes it easier to recommend games, because then we can focus on the games that are in Game Pass. So if you want to play some of the more recent games, I definitely recommend A Plague Tale Requiem, single player from start to finish. Also, I think it is not really a difficult game. It is for someone that is, like he described, a Candy Crush lover, so more casual gamer to me. I think you can really get into that, and you have a strong story, and you can see what a video game can do in 2022. Yeah, it's a video game in 2022 is not a video game like we had it when I grew up in the 90s or so. You have these super impactful stories, those big epic set pieces and moments, and A Plague Tale has all of them. So definitely a recommendation. Thresh in the chat says Ori. Ori is amazing. If you like platformers or like Metroidvania platformer type of games, absolutely fantastic recommendation. Pyro in chat recommends Gears, Hivebusters, absolutely. Guardians of the Galaxy, amazing game, no doubt. Nexomon, I haven't played that myself, actually.
Nexomon.
Also-
If you like Pokemon, you will love Nexomon, especially Nexomon Evolution. Such a well done Pokemon-esque game. Really well done. The art is great. It's a cheap game. It's like 10, 12 pounds at most.
Yeah.
Really big world, lots of creatures. They've got the full evolutions in there. It's a cool little story. I do recommend it for any people who don't have a Switch and want to play a Pokemon-esque game. Nexomon is absolutely what you need to be playing.
Okay. Good stuff. No idea. Yeah, Pyro says he would recommend Gems of War to a Candy Crush fan. Yeah. If you look for more like these kind of experiences, I still recommend Tetris Effect, which is simply amazing.
Tetris Connected is unbelievable. Yeah, I
It's
spent
unbelievably
so much
good.
time on that game. So
Yeah.
much time. Headphones on.
Dude,
Dark-
the music
dark
and
room
how
if
it
you can.
comes together, it is brilliant game. Yeah, man.
It's-
So, I mean, that's the thing about Game Pass, right? There's literally something on there for everyone. Like all genres are on there. If you want to have a more casual experience, you will find games. So yeah, my biggest recommendation would always be just get Game Pass when you get an Xbox.
Yeah.
So the Insipid Ghosts rised in.
Ooh.
He's been on the show a few months ago as well, and he asks, do you think Xbox diehards are overreacting at perceived bias regarding PlayStation and the Game Awards? Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Forbidden West, Last of Us Remake, and God of War Ragnarok is a great list of releases. I don't see why some are upset. Pentiment, sure, but question mark.
I understand with Luke's point. I understand because I wasn't. So my issue with the Game Awards isn't what Sony have released this year because they deserve their flowers for the games they've released. My issue with the Game Awards is the categories overall not correctly putting games in their correct categories because they're short on games for those categories. So putting Sifu into a fighting category isn't a fight. It's not a fighting game. It's an action game. Like
Yeah.
That's fighting in it, but it isn't Street Fighter. It's not Mortal Kombat. Like that, those are fighting games. That they're actual fighting games. So putting Sifu in that doesn't make sense. Putting Triangle Strategy in an RTS category doesn't make sense. Like there's certain decisions that they've made makes absolutely zero sense. Then announcing the nominations 3 days prior to the nominations closing also doesn't make sense.
No.
The nomination
I think-
window doesn't make sense. Like there's so many things that needs to change for that.
Yeah,
It
I
ideally
agree.
needs to be an award show early January, and the game, the actual game of the year running from the 1st of January through to the 35th, or the 25th of December, let's say, because of course nothing releases between the 25th and the 31st. So
Yeah.
the 1st till the 25th, and then you do the nominations on the 31st, and then you do the Game Award show the 2nd week of January. Boom. There you
Yeah.
go. Nice and easy.
There you go.
Yeah.
One of
But
the
unfortunately,
problems
it's not.
solved. One of the
Yeah.
problems solved. I mean, I've said this before. I'm not a fan of Jeff. I'm not, no secret. Still, I think it's important for an industry to have such an award ceremony. I think, like every entertainment industry has it. Movies have it. Books have it. Music has it. Everything has it. It brings a community together to have these awards, and
Yeah.
so I think it's important to have them. But if I look at all the other entertainment formats and how they do their awards, one important thing, look at the Oscars, is they are transparent. Yeah. You might agree or not agree with the nominations for the Oscars or not, but at least you know why they were nominated. Like for every nomination, they put out like these little statements. Okay, this movie got nominated because blah blah blah. Yeah. and we have no idea why these games are nominated. Who is nominating them? And illustrious panel of 50 plus well-known choreographies of the gaming industry. And now, are you kidding me? Like 2 years ago, we had that guy coming out who was on that steering board, and he publicly talked about how he knows that at least half of the panel that made the decision for Game of the Year didn't even play the games that were nominated. Like, is that a proper award ceremony? And then I know we always talk about bias, and Luke is right. PlayStation had a good year. There's absolutely nothing we can say. Horizon Forbidden West, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Gran Turismo 7, people enjoyed it. People that played it enjoyed it. Then we have The Last of Us remake. Yeah, I'm not paying that, but it's still that money. But it's still one of the best games ever made, no doubt.
The only thing I thought
genius.
The only thing I think that didn't warrant being in the actual Game of the Year shout was Stray.
Yeah,
I don't understand it. Like, especially when it comes to indies that have been released this year. Like, Stray doesn't even get close to the best indies this year. I understand people enjoyed that game, but I'm sorry, some of the indie titles that have released this year have been above and beyond what Stray offered on gameplay,
absolutely,
on quality, on content. It makes no sense. I don't understand how the nominations came to that. And it's, again, for me, it's not. It's got nothing to do with Xbox, PlayStation, or those nominations. Because, again, you mentioned, Boxy, PlayStation brought games this year. Xbox didn't. So naturally, we're not going to see them. The issue we've got is the time frame in which that people can vote for games. The period of when the games release that causes issues. So obviously the last 2 months of the year may as well not exist because no one's going to remember them for the next nomination period. Like, is anybody actually going to bring up High on Life or Callisto Protocol in next year's Game of the Year awards? Nope.
Not even close. Halo. Hey, how can you put in Stray and not Halo? Like, that's the question people are asking. And that's what I mean with proper process, to be transparent. And like you said, nominate the games that release in the respective year, and not just the games that come out in between February and November. And then not even be consistent. That's the other thing. Like, who said it in chat? Pyro. Yeah. Forza Horizon 5 wasn't able to get nominated last year. But God of War can. So there's really no surprise to me.
The issue with Forza was it ended up going into the racing category and winning that. But the issue, from what I heard around the main category, is that people weren't aware that they could alter their nominations beyond after they've submitted them and before closing. So when they'd submitted theirs, they weren't aware that they could alter their nominations before that. So the transparency, even internally, the transparency on how the nominations process works wasn't there. So the people doing the nominations weren't aware that they could actually change their nominations if there was something before the end of that nomination period had popped up. And again, the issue I just spoke about earlier is that Jeff is that keen to talk about who are in the nomination lists that he announces them before the nominations period is closed.
Yeah,
which doesn't make any sense, because if
not
for
even
some
close
reason people come up at the deadline and say like people choose a game that automatically pips it to the top, then he has to republish that list again.
Yeah,
like that. So that doesn't make sense. So he's like, oh, look at all these nominations, and all of a sudden one of them drops out, and he's like, oh, you're no longer nominated because this one's now joined.
Yeah.
Like, then how is that fair to the ones that you've originally put out if another game joins it because people have altered their nominations closer? Like, it logistically makes no sense. Like, and logically makes no sense. Like, I don't know why Jeff hasn't thought about this before.
I agree, and I think that's the issue that people have with these awards. I get it's hard to argue about taste, and you could if I would choose my top 5 definitely they would look different. Like you said, the only game you could actually argue here is like literally Stray. Everything else comes down to taste and preference, no doubt, this year. But it's gonna be interesting to see next year, because next year we talked about this. It's gonna be a different story. It's gonna be a different story for Xbox games, and let's see if Jeff will recognize those games. Yeah. So good question from the Insipid Ghost, and shout out to you, brother. Last question of the day comes in from Dave Ramos, and he asks about how much time does it take for Dutch or yourself to review a game? What metrics or review strategies do you use?
Yeah, so I'm still old school. I'm still out of 10. But these days I do give a recommendation as well on whether or not I would recommend. So even if I give a game a high score, sometimes I'll still say I would recommend you potentially wait for sale for this reason, or no, this is an absolute must buy. You need to get this. So I'll still give a recommendation on how I think you should be getting this game. For instance, at the end, like, oh, you can wait for it. Like, it's good. It's a 7, but you can wait. Or no, I would pass. It's a 5. Like, it's not something that it's going to take up your time or something like that. Like, I would give a breakdown as to why it's an X score and what's wrong with it, what's right with it. But for me, in terms of how I review it, much like Boxy, I play it to the end. If I can, if I have the opportunity, I'll maybe play it a second time if I have enough time within that review. If not, then I'll try and at least get into some of if it has a new game plus function or if it has additional content, I'll try and sample everything from the additional content. So if it's got a new specific mode, I'll go into that and try what the mode is, see what it's about, and then be able to kind of speak about that mode a bit. Then if it's got any additional content, any DLCs or anything like that, I'll speak about what is available there and then. But much like Boxy, I think we speak on the version that we have as well. So, of course, I stipulate the kind of version I've got, whether it's pre-release or preview version, etc. So, of course, everyone should be aware that there is obviously always day one patches. So any of the bugs that we might have might be resolved by the time you play it. But that's why we're scoring it. But that's me. How about you? Are you muted?
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. Yeah, well, it really depends on actually if you review a game that is already out, or if you review a game that you have code for, because the difference is your opinion automatically changes, or you look differently at a game when you don't know what everyone else is thinking, or when you do know. So let me give you an example. If you go out now and try to review a game like a Gotham Knights now. Gotham Knights is out now for how long? 2 months. You know the public opinion on this game, and so it's kind of hard to like not take those opinions in judgment. You always say, "Hey, I don't care what everyone else is thinking," but automatically it affects your judgment, and it's completely different when you have like a review code. Like, I reviewed Evil West. I did not know by any chance what everyone else is thinking. Am I the only one having a blast? Am I the only one that can ignore the some of the issues, like not the best story and stuff like that? So that's really a difference, and that's actually how it should or it actually should be. Like, you don't give a damn about the other opinions. People watch a review for your opinion on the game, because that's at the end what every review is. Every review is an opinion piece. It is an opinion of the creator that does the review. What do you personally think? There is no such thing as an objective review. There isn't. So what are some of the things I look at a game? I try to look, of course, on a couple of technical aspects all the time. I'm just a nerd. I love that. I love those things. I love to look at graphics. I love to look at how things are being put together. I don't do the pixel counting thing. Yeah, I can tell you there goes a lot more than just resolution into a good image.
Yeah,
that's just a fact. Yeah, a lot of other things make up good image quality in a game. And of course, so I look more like to things, how are things rendered, how is a certain engine utilized, or how is the art style coming together with the effects shown, or the animation work and stuff like that. So I look at those things. Of course, I look at the story. A game that is a story-driven experience, you have to judge the story by certain things. And at the end, and when I sit down to give a game a score, I look at just one thing actually alone, and that is, how much fun did I have playing this? Was it fun for me? And I think Evil West is a great example because it didn't get the best reviews. There were some people that gave this game a 7. I don't see why. I had no idea when I gave it a 9 that I would be at the more top level, and I stand by this. What kind of reviewer would I be if I wouldn't defend my score? I had a blast playing it. It wasn't the best story, and there were a few bugs here and there. But at the end, I sat down and said, okay, I played 12 hours. It took me 12 hours to beat the game. And I wasn't bored one single second. On the contrary, I couldn't put the controller down. It was just so much fun. So why not give this game a good score? Yeah, that's basically how I try to approach a review. So
absolutely.
Yeah, great.
What I would always say as well, and the things that I'd like to see sites do more of is always try to give, because the people that are going to review certain types of games that they're accustomed to are always going to give more detailed reviews on that game and what it does right and what it does wrong for its genre. For instance, if you're getting someone that's like a massive fighting fan, for instance, on your payroll that usually does fight reviews, and you give him a review code for FIFA, like, you don't expect the best review for FIFA because he doesn't play the game. Usually, he doesn't know about the game. He's not a big football fan. So why would you give somebody like that FIFA to review, for instance? And we've seen that across certain sites before where they've given people like Souls games or something, for instance, to review. They've never played a Souls game before. They usually don't like really hard games. And then, like, some of the complaints that they've got in the review was this game's really hard or something. You're like, oh, come on. Like, of course it is. It's a Souls game. Like, that's the purpose. So it depends. Certain sites need to kind of be more accustomed to essentially letting those who know a specific genre review that particular genre. And for the big releases like your God of Wars and your Halos and things like that, they're more universal. Like, far more people are going to, or far more chance of more different types of people playing those hits than they are kind of some of the smaller titles like your Evil Wests and things like that, where people might not be accustomed to playing certain game modes or games. And then they give kind of weird scores based on kind of their love of a different genre and how it matches up to that. It could match up to a JRPG, and they talk about how Red Dead isn't X, Y, and Z because it isn't like the stories told in Final Fantasy or whatever it is. So I think it's like if any of our guys review or get preview codes for games early, if I did get one that I don't think I would like a genre type, I would give it to somebody I know plays that genre a lot, because that would make more sense to me
Yeah.
to get a better review out of it. So
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely something that matters in reviews. I wouldn't be the best person to review a sports game. I play
Yeah.
everything, all kinds of genre. For some reason, I just can't get into sports game, and so I wouldn't be a fair judge to a FIFA or a Madden
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, I just wouldn't. Yeah, you may make a lot of sense, mate. You definitely make a lot of sense. But yeah, dude, this is why are always the episodes that we do alone without any guests the longest? Like we are almost closing in 3 hours now, 2 hours and 40. It's crazy, man. Crazy. That just happens when you have great conversations. No, and it has been a blast once again, not just with you, Dutch, but also with the amazing community. Our chat, I love the engagement. The people are always nice. We only had to, in the entirety of 43 episodes now, we only had to kick out one guy in the chat. Otherwise, our chat always behaves, and that is so awesome. They have amazing discussions there, but they can respect different opinions, and that's how it's supposed to be. So definitely shout out to everyone in the chat, everyone who stuck with us this long. Thanks again, of course, also for all the super chats and the channel memberships. The support means so much. Can't thank you enough. Also, again, big congratulations to Pyro, who won the 3-month Xbox Ultimate code. Big congrats to you, man. But Dutch, let everyone know what you've coming up, what you're working on. Where can people see you soon?
Indeed, yes. So other than today, you can see me back on Saturday for a little bit of God of War Ragnarok again. And obviously shout out to anybody who wants to watch that. It is in well over the halfway point of that game now. So if you haven't played the game and are intent on playing it, don't tune in, because it is full of spoilers, of course. And now it's counterproductive, of course, for me as a streamer to say don't tune into me. But if you have no intentions or you're not bothered about being spoiled, then feel free to jump along. The game's awesome. Having fun with it, and people who've watched the stream with me who have already played the game or are playing it pretty much alongside where I am, or maybe he's a little bit ahead of us now. Then they've been amazing. The community as well, jumping in on that. So continuing my God of War stream on Saturday. We did our weekend edition last week, so no weekend edition this week. Although there's a possibility of maybe another stream on Sunday, but you never know. Otherwise, a regular scheduled programming starts again next Tuesday for Sea of Tuesdays Playcast, and of course the Midweek Mix-Up podcast on Wednesday. And you can find me everywhere at Wondering Dutch.
And I think I sure hope everyone is subscribed to you already. But if you're not, definitely click in the description down below. You will find the links to Dutch. You know that I can't put a link for the Hive in the chat because there is no desktop version of the Hive. It only exists in the app. So I can't link you there, but everything else is down there. So yeah, guys, by the way, we all started to join the Hive. So if you haven't already, hit us up there as well. Who knows what's going to happen with Twitter? Although I don't think Twitter is going anywhere.
It's a good backup social, and for two people to have designed that and are working on it, well over 1 million people on it now. It has big potential if they can get the optimization right, if they can speed it up a bit. Hella slow.
It is. But it's crazy. It's good. So yeah, definitely. And I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the show. So I'm definitely going to mention this now. We also started a Discord server. So we already have a couple of awesome people from the community joining us there. if you're interested in joining the Discord server, unfortunately those invites run out of time. Hit me up somewhere else, doesn't matter where, and I'll send you another invite. And you can join our Discord server where we have like awesome the gaming discussions all day. So definitely hit us up there as well. And other than that, again, we have 2 amazing shows coming up next week. Thursday, we have the community special, and that's during the regular show, basically. Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Europe, or 7 p.m. UK time. And the same time on Saturday 3rd, we have the year in review show. We will have Karak, aka AZG, here as a guest. We will have Lord Cognito and Ainsley from Seasoned Gaming to discuss with us the highlights of this year. What were the best games? What were the biggest news items of the year? We will talk about the year 2022. That's gonna be a special show, extraordinary show outside of the regular schedule. So definitely make sure to book it in your calendars. But we will also announce that probably, of course, on social. I'm just have to design a thumbnail first. All right. But with that, Dutch, again, thanks for joining us here once again and hosting with me. It's been a blast. Again, thanks to everyone in the chat. Happy Thanksgiving to our US friends. But hey, screw it. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone around the world who listens. The weekend is close. Play some games, enjoy them, and don't forget to game on.